Okay, welcome back to our Catechesis series. Today we're going to be discussing an interesting prayer within the Byzantine tradition. It's called the Byzantine Rosary, or sometimes you can find it called the Prayer Rule of the Theotokos. Either way, we're talking about the same thing. And we're just going to go over the history of it, how it's prayed, and what it's for, what it is. And so you've probably heard of the Rosary before. It's a tradition that comes from sort of the Middle Ages, and originally it was structured as the monks would pray all 150 psalms, either in a week or a day, depending on the monastery. And the laity wanted to participate in the prayer of the monks. They knew that the monks were holy, and they wanted to be like them. Unfortunately, they did not have the time, or sometimes they did not have the literacy, to be able to recite all 150 psalms every day or every week. And so traditions grew up around them saying 150 prayers of some sort. And one of these traditions became what we know of as the Rosary. Originally it was 150 Our Fathers. It eventually became 150 Hail Marys in some parts. And that's the tradition that then is connected with St. Dominic in the West, with the 150 Hail Marys and the mysteries, and he used it as a preaching tool. He would preach on one of the mysteries and then pray Hail Marys with the people afterwards. And it became a way of meditating upon the events in the life of Christ through the lens of the Theotokos' view of them as they were happening. In the East, there's not this same tradition necessarily. The prayer rule of the Theotokos really shows up in about the 1800s with Saint Seraphim of Sarov describing something that looks remarkably identical to the Western Rosary at the time. It's got 15 mysteries, it's the format of Our Fathers, the Eastern Hail Mary, which is different, we'll talk about that, and then a Glory Be at the end, with an opening and a closing. And there are traditions that this was mystically given to the Byzantine Christians in the 800s, that it predates the Western Rosary. And all of the sources that I can find on that are all citing each other. And so I haven't found anything compelling to suggest that this was actually given in the 800s, lost for centuries, and then rediscovered by Seraphim. I think it's more likely that Seraphim of Sarov saw something that was in Western Christianity that was obviously very good, and he incorporated it into his own Byzantine understanding and his own Byzantine spirituality, and then gave us the Byzantine Rosary, the prayer rule of the Theotokos. And so, what does it look like? It begins with the typical opening, and then you have the 15 mysteries. For each mystery, you pray the Our Father, the Rejoice Virgin Theotokos, which is known as the Eastern Hail Mary sometimes, and then a Glory Be. Oh, and the Rejoice you do 10 times. So Our Father, 10 Rejoice Virgin Theotokos, and then 1 Glory Be for each of the mysteries. Once you've finished either all 15, or just like in the Western Rosary, typically you can break it up into sets of 5. Once you've finished that, then it's the typical closing. And that's it. And then during each of these mysteries, you're meditating. Now, Eastern tradition typically tends to shy away from visual meditation, forming images in the mind. That tends to be a little bit, the East is a little allergic to that in tradition. There are Eastern Fathers that recommend this, and so I, with them, feel comfortable recommending it as well, to visualize and to enter into the mystery that way. But there are other ways to meditate. You can meditate simply upon the virtues present in that mystery. You can meditate upon the different ways that Christ enters into the life of the Theotokos, or the different ways that the Theotokos pondered all these words in her heart, in different ways. There's lots of different ways, but it gives you a format of entering into these pinnacle moments in the life of the Theotokos, and as a way of becoming more like her, who perfectly loved God, perfectly loves God still in heaven, to become more like her, and so that we love God more and more perfectly. And so that's all I have for this video. It's not very long. I'll be uploading a video. Look for the video of just the Byzantine Rosary being said, and pray along with it. I'll have the mysteries down in the description below so that you can look at those. And with that, God grant you many years.